girl.
Welcome to the OG community, where curiosity is encouraged and questions are explored. Here we look at hidden history, symbolism, world events, and mysteries that make people stop and think. Today, we got another banger. Yeah, have y'all heard about King Midas? Well, before we get into this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you guys is smashing that hype button. Well, without further ado, let's get into this video.
Legend says King Midas turned everything he touched to gold, but what truths lie beneath the myth? At Gordion, the ancient Phrygian capital near Ankara, archaeologists have just uncovered Tumulus 26, a royal tomb dating to the 8th century BCE. Inside, they found a remarkably preserved wooden chamber, 88 bronze and iron artifacts, and cremated remains, evidence of elite funerary rituals rarely seen at Gordion. The tomb's proximity to the famed Midas Mound hints at a direct link to the dynasty behind the legend. Gordion's fortifications and treasures reveal a city of power and ceremony. Discovered in 2025, Gordion, Turkey.
At a burial mound near ancient Gordion, now called Tumulus Im, archaeologists uncovered something remarkable, the remnants of an Iron Age funeral banquet. The tomb dates to around 740 BCE and is believed to belong to a Phrygian king, likely the father or grandfather of the legendary King Midas. Inside were bronze cauldrons, wooden furniture, and dirty dishes. And those dishes still held microscopic traces of food. Chemical analysis revealed a meal of barbecued goat or lamb, marinated in a mix of olive oil, wine, and honey. It was served with a side of spicy lentils and possibly garnished with fennel. For the drinks, the estimates suggest at least 450 liters were served, some kind of mixed fermented beverage, possibly mead or spiced wine. It wasn't just a feast, it was a whole send-off. It was staged with music and ritual and offerings for the afterlife. And thanks to the airtight conditions of the tomb, we have one of the most vivid glimpses into an elite meal from nearly 3,000 years ago. Now, of course, this wasn't daily fare for the average Phrygian, but it tells us how the elites marked death with spectacle, abundance, and a deep connection between food, ritual, and memory. Sometimes, it seems, the best source for history is a pile of unwashed dishes. So the myth of King Midas, who turned everything he touched into gold. But the real Midas was no fairy tale figure. He was king of Phrygia in the late 8th century, known in Assyrian records as Mita of Mushki. Midas ruled from the city of Gordion, and by the 730s BCE, he had become one of the most powerful figures in Anatolia. He held enough sway that the Assyrians, who were the region's dominant empire, considered him a threat on par with Urartu. We don't know much about his domestic policy specifically, but we do know the results. Under Midas, Phrygia reached its cultural and political peak. Its crafts, especially woodwork and metal and textiles, were renowned. Its defenses were quite strong, and its influence extended into regional trade and diplomacy. Assyrian texts tell us that Midas was both a rival and, at times, an uneasy ally. He maneuvered between greater powers, securing Phrygia's independence for decades. The famous gold myths might reflect his kingdom's prosperity, especially in fine goods and elite tombs, like the massive Tumulus Im, a huge burial complex. There's no evidence he had any alchemy or special talents, but there's wealth in abundance. His downfall came not from being unable to eat all the gold he created, but in 696 BCE when Cimmerian horsemen raided Anatolia. Gordian may have been damaged or even burned, and Phrygia never seems to have fully recovered. So Midas was a skilled leader in a precarious age. He was a figure powerful enough to enter into foreign records and foreign mythology. It's a reminder that even myths often begin with real people.
This is absolute madness. Have you seen the Golden Tomb footage that is currently shattering the internet? A series of insane clips has recently surfaced, recorded by researchers who stumbled into a forbidden zone deep in the mountains. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary archaeological find, but as they move deeper into the structure, the atmosphere turns heavy. Look closer, because this tomb isn't follow the laws of physics. The footage captures walls that appear to shift and breathe, and pathways that seem to loop into an endless labyrinth. Then, camera reveals a towering figure dressed in ancient gold. His skin isn't decayed, and his massive hair is still growing, trailing across the floor as if it were still feeding on his energy. Theorists believe he isn't a mummy or a zombie. He's a mythical entity that has been asleep for thousands of years, waiting for the final awakening to reclaim his throne. But what do you think really happens in this ancient tomb? Tell me your theory in the comments.
An incredible discovery has left archaeologists stunned. It was found near the coast of Peru.
Archaeologists recently brought high-tech radar to the Andes, and what they found beneath the stone walls is sending shockwaves through the world of history. They found deep voids and angled chambers that look like they were carved with modern machines. For starters, these structures are perfectly linear and drop many feet into the solid bedrock.
We're looking at a two-phase construction site in many of the so-called Inca stone monuments.
Most people realize the Inca were great builders, but and that is putting it lightly. The stuff hidden in the dirt is way more advanced. You won't see this in your history books, but it is hands down the biggest discovery in Peru. Sacsayhuaman's Forbidden Foundation. Everyone is obsessed with the giant stones of Sacsayhuaman, but the real story starts where the dirt begins. For a long time, tourists just looked at the surface and thought they were seeing a fortress. But here is the catch. Recent dig sites are now showing that these walls extend way below the surface. They have the same level of precision, engineering, and massive size as the parts everyone takes pictures of. It is not that simple, though, because these buried sections do not look like they were made by the same people. Many experts think we are looking at a two-phase construction site. This means the Inca might have just found a much older, more massive base and built their own walls on top of it. Basically, we are standing on the lid of a giant mystery that was intentionally forgotten. What most people do not realize is that the stuff under the ground is where the real magic happens. In the 2000s and 10s, international researchers used ground-penetrating radar to look under the zigzagging walls. They found anomalies that should not be there. We are talking about deep voids, angled chambers, and carved tunnels that stretch both downward and outward from the main plateau. These are not natural caves. The radar showed hollow corridors cut through solid bedrock. Some of these drops are several feet deep in sharp patterns that do not happen in nature. This was no accident of geology. The substructures were artificially created and then hidden away. Yeah, about that. One of the most famous spots is under the Muyukmara Tower. It is a central circular foundation that has confused historians for 100 years. The radar revealed corridors that look like they were sliced through the mountain with a laser. And get this, some of these tunnels are rumored to run all the way from the fortress to the Temple of the Sun in central Cusco.
Is it me? Or does it seem like every other week, every other month, every other day, we're finding new history? We're finding tombs. We're finding information. We're finding that certain civilizations aren't the oldest civilizations. There are other civilizations that was older than them. We finding different stuff about our history and how long people have been on this earth every other day. which lets you know everything that we were taught and brought up on is bullshit. Bullshit. People, the textbooks is all bullshit. That stuff ain't real. It's fabricated. Fabricated. The real learning is done when you search and find the spirit within yourself. When you find the spirit within the earth, within nature. That's the real knowledge. This shit they teaching us in school, that's not the real knowledge. That's something somebody made up, propaganda.
That is over 1.2 miles of underground planning. That is not just a little project. That is a massive engineering feat that would be hard to do even today. It is almost like they were building a whole second city underground. The crazy part is that many of these entrances were officially sealed off by the government.
In 1922, archaeologists discovered the mummified body of a child inside King Tutankhamun's tomb. Many historians believe the child was one of the pharaoh's daughters. She was carefully mummified and buried with royal honors beside her father. DNA research published in 2010 supports the belief that she was part of Tutankhamun's immediate family. The discovery reminds us that behind the treasures of ancient Egypt was a young family that experienced great loss.
New rule: if archaeologists have just unearthed a tomb in Turkey that might be linked to King Midas, and it's oozing so much gold that it puts even Donald Trump to shame, it's time to start looking at the modern elite like they're barely good enough to be extras in a corny rap video. This guy was buried with so much bling, iron tools, and labeled cremated remains like some ancient Pottery Barn showroom. He didn't just turn stuff to gold. He turned his death into a full-blown product launch. Meanwhile, the rest of us are lucky if we can afford to be buried in a cardboard box with a GoFundMe link duct taped to the side. If you can't handle me at my cremated in an urn next to a bronze cauldron, then you don't deserve me at my gold-dripping Midas-level legacy.
But at the same time, he's right. Most people have a hard time even just figuring out what they're getting buried in, what their relatives getting buried in. But I'll say this. Kings and Midases and these guys they find with all these riches and stuff in their tombs, these are the elite. These are the top echelon. That's the reason why they get the average person back then. Where were they buried at? You probably can't even find their burial ground. You probably can't find their bones. But you can find the elites. That's exactly what that is.
Check it out, family. 2026, the veil is gone. Now, I'm not saying that this video was recorded in 2026. What I am saying is that this video is circulating during this year. And this is somebody who was just having an adventure in Iran, and they found the spink in the pyramid. What this tell y'all? We niggas was everywhere. The artifacts is the facts. On phonograph, shit is crazy.
For decades, people called it King Midas' tomb. The evidence says otherwise. In 1957, archaeologists opened a massive burial mound in Gordian, Turkey. Inside, the skeleton of an elderly ruler and wooden objects untouched for centuries. But tree ring dating on the burial chamber points to 740 BC. Too early to be Midas himself. Most researchers believe it's his father's tomb, possibly King Gordius. The Midas touch may have roots right here in his father's burial site. So if it's not Midas, who's really buried there? Drop your theory below and follow for more ancient mysteries history got wrong.
Big news coming out of Turkey that you might have missed. Archaeologists have recently excavated a tomb that they believe might be related to the famous King Midas. Was everything dripped out in gold? Well, not quite. But there were some very interesting finds worth taking a look at. So let's dive in, check it out. A royal burial chamber from the 8th century BC was discovered in very good condition and announced by Mehmet Nuri Ersoy, Turkish Minister of Culture and Tourism, back in May. Brian Rose, director of excavations at Gordian, said, quote, "Without inscriptions, it's difficult to determine who the deceased was," end quote. However, with the luxury of objects found, it is thought they belonged to the family of King Midas. Rose said, quote, "The most surprising thing is that the tomb was a cremation rather than a burial. Otherwise, our earliest cremation dates from more than a century later, indicating the high status of the deceased," end quote. He went on to say, quote, "It is not uncommon for rulers to be treated differently both in life and in death. One of the most prominent examples is the deceased from the burial mound at Gordian, whom we've identified as Midas's father. The surviving skull makes it clear that his head was bandaged and splinted when he was a baby, so that it would be oblong, unlike anyone else in the area," end quote. And we find yet another curious case of skull elongation being associated with royalty in the Old World, something that seems to go hand in hand together. And the more you look into the archaeological record, you'll find it was fairly ubiquitous throughout the Old World, the procedure of head binding. And again, I can't help but ask the question, why? It's fairly comical now to sit and look back and think about royalty of the Old World running around with a bunch of cone heads, but in the past, there was nothing at all funny about it, and it was an important denotation of being royalty. So I can't help but wonder, as always, why would they risk the life of their newborn baby to perpetuate this symbol of elongated skull being associated with royalty? It doesn't make a lot of sense, honestly, and from a strictly symbolic stance, well, why not just wear the big hats like we see over and over? Well, for more information on all of this, I would encourage you to check out my video on elongated skull people down in the description below. But until next time, my friends, be indomitable in your quest for knowledge, no matter what gets in your way. But above all, my friends, stay curious.
In Turkey, archaeologists entered one of the largest burial mounds ever built. The tomb contained feasts, ornaments, and artifacts fit for a ruler. The dating matches the era of the legendary King Midas. But was this truly his grave, or another forgotten king's?
Like fucking King Midas in reverse here, everything I touch turns to shit. I'm not a husband to my wife. I'm not a father to my kids. I'm not a friend to my friends. I'm nothing.
The sunshine girl is sleeping. She falls and dreams of love.
Why did they hide this for 10,000 years? Archaeologists just uncovered a site in South Sinai that nobody knew existed. Rock art dating back to 8,000 BC. That's 5,000 years before the pyramids. But here's where it gets wild. The same site has Middle Kingdom pottery, Roman-era fragments, and Islamic inscriptions. One location, 10,000 years of continuous human activity. And we're just finding it now? This wasn't random. This was a crossroads where civilizations met, traded, and left their mark for millennia. The Egyptian government is calling it a major addition to the historical record, which means everything we thought we knew about Sinai. Incomplete. Meanwhile, there's a 30-meter hidden passageway inside the Great Pyramid that ends at a door. Zahi Hawass says when they open it in 2026, it will rewrite Pharaoh history. So what's behind that door? And what else are we missing? The truth is being uncovered piece by piece. Most people have no idea how much has been hidden in plain sight. Drop your theory in the comments. Follow for more ancient Egypt secrets they don't teach you.
Archaeologists have been fighting over the location of Sodom for over 100 years. And now AI may have just changed the entire conversation. I'm the AI disciple, and this channel is for Christians who want to understand how AI is impacting faith, history, and the Bible. In 2021, a team of 21 researchers from 19 institutions published a paper in Scientific Reports, a Nature Portfolio journal, claiming to have found evidence of a massive cosmic airburst at a site called Tal el Hammam, northeast of the Dead Sea in Jordan. The site showed melted pottery, bubbled mud brick, charred grain, and human bones shattered into centimeter-sized fragments, all pointing to temperatures that brief but nearly approach the surface of the sun. The lead archaeologist, Dr. Stephen Collins of Trinity Southwest University, had been digging at Tal el Hammam since 2001. He used detailed geographic analysis of Genesis chapter 13, specifically where Lot was standing when he lifted up his eyes, and saw the whole plain of the Jordan to pinpoint the site. That put Sodom northeast of the Dead Sea, not south. Here is where AI enters the picture. Researchers use machine learning tools and computational analysis, including Bayesian radiocarbon modeling, satellite imagery cross-referencing, and pattern recognition software to date and map the destruction layer. The Bayesian model date came back 1661 BCE, plus or minus 21 years. That date and location line up with the biblical timeline of Abraham and Lot in a compelling way. The largest Bronze Age city in the region, destroyed suddenly, not rebuilt for 3 to 6 centuries. Soil hypersalinity from the blast making agriculture impossible, which mirrors the Bible's description of the land becoming like Sodom.
You've all heard the story of King Midas, right? The guy who wished everything he touched would turn to gold. We usually hear about his greed, his golden touch, his donkey ears. But there's a part of the story, a much darker, more human part, that often gets left out. It's not just about a king who loved gold. It's about a father who lost everything, even the love of his own family. Imagine the initial chaos. Midas, ecstatic, turns a rose to gold, a chair to gold. He thinks he's the most powerful man alive. But then the horror sets in. He can't eat, he can't drink. The simplest pleasures of life are stolen from him. The real tragedy, though, wasn't the golden food he couldn't eat. It was the moment his beloved daughter, the person he cherished more than any treasure, ran to comfort him. He reached out, and in a heartbeat she was no longer his living, breathing child, but a cold, lifeless golden statue. This is the Midas we know, the king who begged the gods to take back his gift. And they did. He washed his hands in the river Pactolus, and the curse was lifted. His daughter returned to life. A happy ending, right? Not exactly. The story doesn't just stop there. The psychological scars, the trauma of what happened, ran deep, and they fractured his family forever. Think about it from his daughter's perspective. She would remember the moment her father's touch turned her into an object. The terror, the feeling of her life draining away, replaced by a cold, heavy stillness. How do you look at your own father after that without a shiver of fear? How do you hug him, hold his hand, or sit on his lap without that memory flashing in your mind? Every touch, every gesture of affection would be tainted by the what if. And what about his wife, the queen? She watched her husband, consumed by greed, almost destroy their child. She saw the man she loved become a monster, a walking plague who turned life into cold, dead metal. Could she ever trust his judgment again? Could she ever feel safe in his arms, knowing what those hands were capable of? The ancient texts don't spell it out in soap opera detail, but the implication is chilling. Midas got his daughter back, but he lost her all the same. He was a king in a palace, surrounded by his family, but utterly alone. They would have kept their distance, polite, respectful, but distant. There would be no more spontaneous hugs, no more casual touches. He was isolated by their fear. He had become a pariah in his own home, a walking reminder of a nightmare. He had chased a golden dream and woken up to a reality where the people he loved most saw him not as a husband or a father, but as a source of danger, a man whose touch meant death. The real curse of Midas wasn't the golden touch. It was the rejection and the cold, empty space it left in his heart, a space no amount of gold could ever fill.
Well, in 2005, an Israeli archaeologist announced to the world that she had uncovered the ruins of King David's palace in Jerusalem.
For thousands of years, the name of King Solomon has echoed through history like a whisper wrapped in power, wisdom, and secrets no one could fully explain. Stories spoke of unimaginable riches, divine knowledge, and a tomb so protected that many believed it was never meant to be opened. Some called it legend, others called it forbidden. But now, something has changed. A discovery buried beneath layers of time has shaken historians, archaeologists, and even skeptics. After what feels like an eternity, a sealed chamber, believed to be connected to Solomon himself, has finally been opened. And what came out of it isn't just gold or ancient artifacts. It's something far more unsettling, because what they found doesn't just rewrite history, it challenges everything we thought we knew. And the deeper you go into this story, the more it starts to feel like this wasn't just a discovery. It was a message waiting to be revealed. If you're ready to uncover the truth behind this shocking revelation, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more mysteries that the world was never supposed to see. The legend of Solomon's lost tomb. They said it was just a myth, until a forgotten tunnel changed everything. For centuries, people searched beneath the hills of Jerusalem, chasing rumors of a king buried with riches beyond imagination. A king whose name still resounds through time. Solomon. The man was known not just for his wisdom, but for building a kingdom so wealthy and so powerful that it left the ancient world in awe. Solomon stepped into power as a teenager, following in the footsteps of his father, King David. But he didn't just keep the kingdom alive, he transformed it. Trade exploded, gold poured in, and at the center of it all, he built the first temple, a 7-year masterwork, glowing with cedar from Lebanon, gold panels that caught the sun, and stone so perfectly cut it barely needed mortar. The stories of his wise rulings are just as spectacular, like the one where 2 women claimed the same baby. Solomon offered to split the child in half, not out of cruelty, but to see who would give him up. And one did.
Welcome to part 2 of the real reason that we invaded Iraq, because you and I have been lied to our entire lives. In part 1, we talked about how an archaeologist discovered the ancient city of Uruk in modern-day Iraq, and then he discovered the tomb of Gilgamesh, and coincidentally, a few months after, we invaded Iraq. Well, buckle up, because this goes so much deeper than just his tomb. Now for this video, we have to go back to the days immediately following the flood, and this brings us to Genesis 10. Genesis 10 is the genealogy of Noah. Genesis 10:1 tells us that the 3 sons of Noah were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Down it says Ham had Cush, and then Cush had Nimrod. So Nimrod in the Bible is Noah's great-grandson. Now why am I talking about Nimrod? Because Nimrod is Gilgamesh. In the Bible, we learn that Nimrod established a very large kingdom. He was essentially the first king of the world, and it also says that he ruled over all of the other sons of Noah. Now, because of this, there were many different peoples that would write about Nimrod. It was their personal account of who Nimrod was. The Babylonians wrote about him, the Assyrians wrote about him, the Hittites wrote about him. It says even in Palestine, tablets have been found with this man's name on them. He was obviously the most popular hero in the ancient Near East. And of course, the Sumerians wrote about him in the Epic of Gilgamesh. I'm going to go back to Genesis 10 to find out about Nimrod's kingdom. This is Genesis 10:8. And it says up at the top, he began to be a mighty one on the earth. We'll go back to that verse later. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. Verse 10. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech.
When Elatmazar realized she discovered an ancient structure near Jerusalem, she turned to the Bible to help explain what she found.
Scientists just opened King Solomon's sealed tomb, and what they found inside is pure horror. For thousands of years, this tomb remained untouched, sealed, hidden, and avoided. Not because people couldn't find it, but because many believed it should never be opened. But now a team of researchers has finally broken that seal, and the moment they stepped inside, something felt wrong. The air was thick. The walls were covered in markings no one could fully understand. And deeper inside the chamber, they discovered objects that don't match anything from that time in history. But that's not even the most disturbing part, because according to insiders, there was one discovery that made the entire team stop and reconsider whether they should have opened the tomb at all. Something that raises a terrifying question. Was this tomb protecting something valuable, or was it locking something away? And once you see what was found inside, you might wish it had stayed sealed forever. Who was King Solomon? Really? King Solomon stands as one of history's most enigmatic figures, ruling ancient Israel during its golden age from 970 to 931 BCE. Like a master weaver threading gold through fabric, Solomon wove wisdom and wealth into the fabric of his kingdom. The son of the legendary King David, Solomon ascended to the throne at just 12 years old. His reign marked the peak of Israel's power, stretching from the Euphrates River to the edge of Egypt. Yet Solomon's true strength lay not in military might, but in his legendary wisdom. Stories tell of Solomon's famous judgment between two mothers claiming the same baby, his solution offering to split the child in half. The true mother's horrified reaction revealed her identity, showcasing Solomon's brilliant understanding of human nature. Under Solomon's rule, Jerusalem transformed into a dazzling metropolis. The crowning achievement was the First Temple, a structure so magnificent it became one of the ancient world's wonders. Built over 7 years, the temple gleamed with gold, precious stones, and cedar wood from Lebanon. Solomon's reputation for wisdom drew visitors from distant lands. The Queen of Sheba's visit became legendary as she arrived with caravans laden with gold, spices, and precious stones to test his knowledge. She left declaring that his wisdom exceeded even the grand tales she'd heard. But Solomon was more than just a wise king. He was a prolific writer, credited with authoring 3,000 proverbs and 1,005 songs. The biblical books of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon bear his name, though scholars debate their exact origins. His famous copper mines in the Timna Valley reveal his business acumen. Archaeological evidence shows sophisticated mining operations that brought immense wealth to his kingdom. Solomon's fleet of ships sailed to mysterious Ophir, returning with exotic goods and unprecedented riches. Yet Solomon's later years tell a different story. His 700 wives and 300 concubines, many from foreign lands, introduced competing religions to Israel. The kingdom's resources strained under the weight of his grand projects and lavish lifestyle. Despite these complexities, Solomon's influence echoes through millennia. His name became synonymous with wisdom, wealth, and magical power in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions. The legendary Seal of Solomon, said to command supernatural forces, inspired countless myths. Recent archaeological discoveries have begun connecting physical evidence to biblical accounts. Copper mines, massive buildings, and luxury items from his era support descriptions of Solomon's wealth. Yet many aspects of his life remain shrouded in mystery. As we peel back layers of legend to find the historical Solomon, we're left with a fascinating paradox. A king whose wisdom brought him everything, yet who ultimately questioned the value of it all. His story serves as a timeless reminder that true wisdom often comes with understanding life's limitations. Speaking of understanding limitations, it's high time we understood how modern archaeologists face their...
Archaeologists may have found the tomb of the man who handed Jesus over to be crucified, but what they found with it makes the story even stranger. In Jerusalem, archaeologists discovered an ornate bone box, inscribed with a name, Caiaphas, the high priest, named in the Gospels. But then they found 2 iron nails associated with the tomb. One was reportedly found inside an ossuary, and another nearby. And that's where the mystery begins. Some have suggested that these might have been crucifixion nails, maybe even connected to Jesus. But there's no evidence that proves that, and scholars have strongly challenged the claim. But still, think about where they were found. A 1st century Jerusalem tomb associated with the family of Caiaphas, the high priest, connected to the trial of Jesus, with ancient iron nails inside. We may never know what those nails were used for, but sometimes archaeology leaves us with a mystery that takes us straight back to the pages on the gospel. What do you think those nails were doing there?
It is crazy. They keep finding all these artifacts. And every time they uncover one, they say it gets older and it gets older and it gets older. What is he holding?
Archaeologists.
But who cares if Egyptians had plenty of museums that they were making money off? It's their artifacts. There's no way Egyptian artifacts should be shown in Europe. Why? Why? Just to say y'all conquered something? Is that what it is? Because why would an Egyptian artifact need to be in a museum in Europe? That makes no sense. None at all. Y'all want to hold information. Y'all want to hold our history. People want to tell other people's history, which is the craziest shit to me. How are you trying to tell somebody else's history? That's because it's a narrative that you want to convey to the people. But the people waking up. 2026, 2027, 2025. People waking up. We just need more to get there.
Whoa, I didn't know people still did that. That's awesome. Are there a lot of you left, or are you guys extinct also? Do you know a lot of archaeologists?
All my coworkers.
Well, your coworkers, yeah. I feel like that. You fucking checkmated me on that. So what exactly are you digging up?
We don't dig, we do pedestrian survey, which is just basically hiking.
So just hiking. It's like I'm digging for the funny and I can't find it. So wait, you're not digging up bums though at this point?
Well, I have in the past.
What have you found?
Roman infants.
Roman infants? I feel like I need to pivot. Piano teacher, you know how many kids you teach?
I have like 30.
Who are you with tonight?
He signed up as a piano student.
That's a funny way to answer this question. I asked who you're with, and you said this guy signed up to be a piano student with you.
No, but now he's my boyfriend.
But now he's your boyfriend. And sir, you're not 12, right? You're an adult man. So you don't just teach kids.
I mostly do, because adults don't usually stick with it.
You can just keep fucking all of them. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. What's your name?
Nicholas.
Hey, Nicholas, nice to meet you, man. He takes his finger up. Hey, I'm Nicholas. You have a question for me or anything like that?
Are you interested in piano lessons?
Not from that horny-ass school. You go to college? What's the name of the college?
Douglas College.
Douglas College is some guy's house? First period, it says I'm here. Yo, what's up? Come on in. This is the classroom. Make yourself comfortable. I say, what's the mascot? Just like a guy? Did anyone else go to Douglas? No, is there a mascot or anything?
It's a Muppet.
Is it a Muppet? Who's talking about that? Sorry. It sounds like Kermit just spoke up. It's a Muppet! I appreciate you helping out. I didn't mean to roast you. One more time.
Muppet.
Walrus? Oh, lion. What kind of zoo college you go to?
Lion's name is Rory.
So this motherfucker said Rory. You can't just say Rory, because I'm gonna be like, is that Douglas's friend? Who the fuck is Rory? Rory the lion. Oh, because like rudder, like that shit. I just got it. Can I guess your name? Well, let's start with Jake. Josh. Jake. What is it? Joaquin. Joaquin? Joaquin? Did you guys see Joaquin coming? When I asked him, he was like, yeah, go for it. Who did you come here with tonight, Joaquin? My parents. Your parents? Good name. Where did the name Joaquin come from?
His dad.
His dad. Oh, wow, man. And what's your name, boss? Joaquin.
Where did you meet him at?
The apps.
Which one?
Scruff.
Huh? Scruff. Is that for gay men?
For the homosexuals.
For the homosexuals? Excuse me. What makes that app unique?
More interactive. Yeah.
Interesting. How interactive? Like, does the penis go through the USB? Like how, is it like a pop-up book? By interactive, what do you mean?
More conversation than just like, hey, look.
Right. So it's not about hooking up. You're trying to get to know each other. Where'd you guys hang out the first time you hung out? Where'd you guys go?
My house.
Your house. Oh, it's time to interact.
Wine on the patio.
Wine on the patio?
There's a baby possum.
There's a baby possum?
Yeah.
Like it was like a thruple thing? Or no. I don't know. That could be the Scruff. Come here, Scruff. Like, what kind of pets do you have?
4 carrots.
What are the parrots' names?
Susie.
Hilarious already. Keep going. Oh, it's a boy. I'm so sorry I misgendered the parrot. Susie the guy parrot, the male, and then
Rory.
Is he a man?
I think so.
You don't know. You know what Susie is? Does Susie just have a massive dong or something? Like, just call. Do they talk and stuff?
A lot.
What are some things that they say?
Shut the fuck up.
They said shut the fuck up? Which parrot? Was that Susie? Of course it was Susie.
Thank you guys for joining me for another banger. This is Rod OG. Until the next video, peace and love.